Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter, and I wanted to share some of the new tidbits and news that we've learned about Monster Hunter World in the last 24 hours. And although I don't have new gameplay video, or I can't even show you the gameplay trailer without filtering it to death because they flagged my, video for it, and hopefully they can help me out with that. I wanted to make a video to share this information because it's online. There are really great people in the community who are sharing this. Shouts out to Kogath and all the other guys who are doing it. There's a bunch of them. But I wanted to make a video because not all of you read everything on Twitter, and I think some of this information is really good to know. It's really promising and all positive. So without that, I'm just going to jump in and tell you randomly all the facts that we've learned over the last 24 hours about Monster Hunter World, which again, it's coming early 2018 on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and at a later date, the PC. Woo! Master Race! Okay, so some of this comes from a Dengeki interview with Ryozo Tsujimoto, and some of it comes from comments from our wonderful community manager from Capcom, Yuri. And of course, also Sox is also providing information as well. So one of the things that they wanted to clarify was that the game is not open world, but there is no loading at any time during a hunt. So once you go in, all the areas are seamlessly connected, and we won't have to deal with loading. That's going to be interesting because, man, when you try to run away to heal yourself, that's not going to work anymore. So that's an interesting proposition, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. Another thing that they said was there's a lot of things they can do now because they're using the power of the PlayStation 4 and obviously the Xbox One as well. So it allows them to go back and really rethink some of the stuff that they've been doing, thanks, due to the limitations they've had. One of these new things that they're able to do, obviously, is enhance monster AI for all the monsters. So they're able to make them feel more alive than ever before. I'm super excited to see all the different type of AI patterns they might have for the small and the large and even the medium monsters. That's cool. They did say that stealth, which we did see a little bit, it sort of looked like Metal Gear Solid to me, or Call of Duty. They said that that's actually a skill. It's not something that you can use all the time. And even sometimes it attracts monsters, and it doesn't make them ignore you. So that doesn't seem like it's going to be a core aspect of the gameplay. Thank God. They did also say that yes, you'll depart from guild halls as normal with up to 4 people on a quest. However, you do have the option mid-hunt if you need help to shoot up a flare in the sky, and that will call in random hunters from the global server. So how that's going to work with rewards, I have no idea. But drop in, drop out is not the must, it's just another option, so that's very welcome to know. They are aiming for a global same-day release. Of course, that's difficult this day and age, but I'm sure they're going to do it if they're coming out at their announce saying that they're going to do it, so best of luck to them. They did confirm all 14 weapons are going to be in the game, so Insight Glaive, Charge Blade, Hammer, Lance, Switch Axe, all of them, they're going to be in the game. The one that's not making the game is the Prowler, which kind of sucks, but you know what? That was to be expected, right? This is a much more sophisticated hunting game with a lot of new elements, so I can imagine the cat was kind of hard, and obviously Prowler is kind of like, the spin-off Monster Hunter Cross, Double Cross, one of its things that makes it iconic, so, I can live without it. One of the things that we saw was a grappling hook-like weapon. They call that the Slinger. It's actually a sub-tool that your hunter has, and you'll be able to use it to do all sorts of crazy stuff. They did mention you can just pick rocks off the ground and chuck them to either distract monsters or to get them away from you, which is pretty funny. And another thing that they wanted to clarify, that this is not a spin-off game. To them, this is the next generation Monster Hunter. They're not going out and saying that it's a numbered title, but they're saying it's not a spin-off, which they specifically said that Monster Hunter Generations was. And I think what they're trying to do here is just communicate to people how much resources they're putting into this thing. They're very serious, and they want it to be big. It does support offline play, which is good. I would have hated to see an online-only game. It has all the elements of Monster Hunter, so gathering, mining, ores, insects, you name it, cutting off limbs of body parts of monsters, it's all there. They are aiming for a solid 30 frames per second across all platforms, my guess being, they didn't say this, that they would offer 60 frames per second on the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. God, that's a mouthful. But we'll see. They haven't said what they're trying to do for those new platforms. There's no underwater battles. Great news. For a lot of people, they seem to didn't want it. However, there was some nice underwater elements in the trailer where they sort of had some transitional zones, but no underwater battles. They are supporting voice chat, which was kind of a given, but still nice to know that we're not having to rely on the Sony hardware level support for voice chat. We'll actually have it in the game. Very cool. There's no HP gauge for enemies, just like regular old Monster Hunter, but they did add in a new option where you can hide or show damage. Now, I don't know if this is actually damage or it's motion value or what, but I actually think this is kind of a welcome addition. I first thought that this would be a dumb idea until I saw it in a game like Monster Hunter Online, and I thought a little bit more about it, and it could help people when they're starting to understand when they're doing more damage and when they're doing less damage, without having to rely on understanding what a motion value is and stuff like that. So being able to turn it on and off, that's great. So good news there for people who are new to the series. Obviously a lot more verticality in the hunts thanks to the new high-end machine and all that kind of stuff. And they did also confirm that outside Rathalos we would see at least one or more other existing monsters from the series make their HD appearance in this game. Hopefully it's not too many. I hope they focus purely on new monsters, and they don't have too many flagships, but it is nice to know that we'll have at least another favorite back. I personally would love to see something like Tigrex or Diablos. You know I love those monsters, so we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, I wanted to share all this information because there's just no gameplay video out yet, and I know a lot of people are curious about this game because the trailer they showed was all the new features and they didn't show all this other stuff that they've been talking about over the last day. I'm sure tomorrow we'll bring more news. If I get enough of it, maybe I'll make another video. Hopefully they'll show some gameplay and video that I can actually use without being flagged on YouTube, and that would be sweet. Okay, before I end this video, this is kind of just being appended on. Right as I was uploading this, there was a new interview released from Gamer, which is a Japanese news media site that had an interview with Tsujimoto-san and Fujioka-san. So I wanted to share some of the cool tidbits that came from that without having to redo this entire video. Some very cool things. One of the things that they noted was that the size of the fields, even though now it's seamless, is 2.5 times larger, or roughly 2.5 times larger, than the fields we have right now in Monster Hunter. So we're talking pretty darn big maps. I guess this is probably why they have those little flying birds that you can travel on. And they did mention that it's not just big for the sake of being big. There's lots of different things to do, and there's lots of different gimmicks and you know, ecosystem things to look at or to hunt. Another thing that they noted was because there's now stealthy elements that you can do, there's several parts of each map where you can actually hide. That will allow you to use potions or to sort of overcome obstacles. And one of the awesomest things that they put in this interview was that you can now use potions as you are moving. There's no more stopping and doing Superman poses. That's a huge fundamental change. Very interesting. They did go a little bit further on why they chose the PS4. They said that there was a lot of people who wanted a PS4 version, and they said even the team, the development team said, you know what, I wanted to make a Monster Hunter using like the latest technology. I wonder what we could do. And that really just said, okay, let's do it. And that's why they decided on the PS4. And they were even asked by the Japanese media, hey, do you have any plans for the Switch for this game? And they said not at this point. They've only talked about the hardware that they've announced for. They did talk about the slinger a little bit more, in that every hunter has it on. It's not an option that you can have it on or off, and it is your rope. And one of the reasons why, and I mentioned this earlier in my video, you can pick up a nut or a stone and use it right away, was just because they thought it was a little tedious that you'd pick up an item and have to put it in your inventory, then select it, then use it. They thought it would be kind of neat if you can just pick it and use it right away. So that's kind of the reason why they did that. They also talked a little bit more about tracking it. They talked about these tracking insects, which is a sort of support skill or item that you can use, which are the bugs that track down larger monsters. They said there's other stuff as well. For example, if you grab like a glow bug, you can just smash it right up against the wall and it will make the area glow. So if it's like late at night and you need to get some light in the cave, just grab some bugs and smear them on the wall, and there you go, instant light. I imagine they're going to have some interesting ideas here. And then they did go on and let the interviewer know, like I mentioned before, about the 14 weapons, and that you will still be going on quests normally. However, they will let people to help out. They said that they do want, on top of voice chat, to have text messages, but fixed text messages. And the reasons for that is because it's going to be a global server, so will allow, because they can auto-translate these things, a Japanese player, for example, to play with a US player and still be able to communicate using text, even if they don't speak the same language. So that's good that they're going to add that. I thought that was kind of a given, but still looking pretty darn good. Anyways, that was the extra info I just wanted to add. No Superman poses, using potions as you run. That's pretty interesting. So anyways, that was that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this news burst, and until next time, happy hunting.